Hey, welcome back to another Matt at the cabin, doing a nighttime walk. And, just thinking tonight about sobriety and my journey along the way. And I guess what I've learned a little bit, 1,000 days in. And I've talked about things like this before, but figured I'd just put it in perspective for some people. So, for me, there's 4 basic truths in sobriety that I've really focused on and learned about. And truth number 1 is you put people first. Truth number 2, you focus on the details. Truth number 3, you stay consistent for your progress. And truth number 4, the last one, is you trust people. So for the first one, putting people first, that starts with yourself. You got to put yourself first in your journey. You got to focus on the people around you that put your thoughts and things first, not just in sobriety, but in life too. I think these 4 truths are also pretty evident for just your life journey and what people care about in their life and things like that. So I think if you keep these 4 things in mind, regardless if it's through sobriety or through addiction or whatever, I think these things will help everybody. Maybe even some leadership truths or something like that, and how you treat people. So you put people first. That includes yourself. And then you just recognize that regardless of what you're doing, regardless of the industry in, your profession, your personal life, what relationships you have with people, whether they're family relationships, friends, whatever, that people are involved. There's going to be emotions involved, and it's not simple. No decision when people are involved is as simple as black and white. It doesn't happen. Often those things are gray. There's so much to take into account, to consider, and you have to understand that in all those decisions, people are involved, including yourself, and you got to put people first and recognize that first and foremost. The second truth through sobriety that I've kind of thought about, or that I've come to the realization of in conclusion, is the details matter. So if you set your goals, be detail focused, specific, measurable, actionable goals are going to be important. And the details do matter. So if you set a goal for, a month of sobriety, if you set a goal for 10,000 steps a day for a week, those details matter, and you have to keep those details in mind, and you got to reach for those details. That's the stuff that's going to make or break. And those little details lead up to over and over and over and over big, huge goals for yourself and big milestones. And those details are the things that are going to be important as you continue on your journey. So whatever your details are, whatever your goals are, make sure that they're actionable, make sure you can reflect upon them, and make sure that they're measurable. Because all those details and all those things that you have in place in your life, in your personal life, in your professional life, whatever the case is, in recovery and sobriety, all those details lead up to big, massive gains along the way over time. And that's something that is definitely super important to remember. The third truth that I've come to realize, I guess, in life and in sobriety is, like I talked about at the very beginning, just being consistent. Be consistent with your progress. If you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to do 8 hours of sleep a day, if you're doing cold plunges, or you're meditating a day, or if it's something big like sobriety and you're fighting an addiction, consistency matters with your progress. Consistency is going to be the key. You want consistency because, it gives you a realistic expectation that sometimes there's going to be things that happen. Sometimes there's going to be these little, blips along the way, for lack of a better term, that are going to just get in the way and be a roadblock for you, whatever the case may be. But if you stay consistent and you just continue on with your progress, literally one day at a time, then you're going to see big results at the end. There are going to be mishaps. There is going to be some situations where you're going to question yourself. Is it worth it? Am I doing the right thing? you know, those questions are going to creep into your mind just like anybody's. And you just have to stay true to what you're trying to accomplish. And you just have to make sure that you keep that focus in mind, because that's going to be important for you. That's what you want to be able to do. So being consistent, keeping your goals in mind, tracking that progress, those are things that are going to make a big difference. And hopefully, you know, you'll see the big result at the end of that over time, because you'll continue to move forward. And the last one kind of wraps it all up, is to trust. And so that can come in a number of different ways. So number one, you can trust the process. You can trust yourself. You can trust the goals that you've put in place. You can trust those around you that you rely on and that you can confide in and that you can share with. All those things are going to be super important, whether you believe it or not. That trust factor is going to be a huge piece. And, you know, to wrap it up all together, you know, with these 4 truths that I'm talking about, trust is important just in general, in terms of, you know, putting people first. Trust that that's going to be a good factor in your decision making. Trust that the details matter and will lead to a big result in the end, even though it might not seem like it in the moment, with whatever your goals are, or, you know, whatever you're trying to do. Trust that being consistent and staying the course in terms of progress is what's going to matter. Because if you have trust in those things, and you kind of, you know, put yourself over to something that's bigger than yourself, and you have some goals that are bigger than yourself, I think that that's going to be ultimately a great vantage point for you and for whatever you decide to do. So again, 4 truths that I've come upon just in my journey with sobriety, but I think they're also true for life. They're true for leadership, whether you're, you know, you work in an office, or you work with a bunch of different people, or you're in marketing, or whatever the case is. Certainly putting people first is probably the most important. That's the one that I focus on the most through sobriety in my journey. But the other 3 are equally as important. And there's certain times where some are going to take the forefront and others are not. But again, 4 truths that I've learned, kind of a quicker video tonight, but something that I was just thinking about, getting out of my mind. So hopefully this will help some of you as well. And like I always end with, if you are struggling, if you need some help or some support for addiction on your journey to sobriety and recovery, reach out to your AA chapter. The Meeting Guide app is a great place to start. There's tons of resources through a quick Google search, or any other search for that matter. smartrecovery.com is another great one. They're all over the place, and it's just, you know, up to you if you want to reach out to them. And I guess I'll close with this. You know, these types of things don't just pop into your mind all of a sudden, and it's not a clairvoyant kind of process, right? So for me, it's reflection. It's taking time to really think through, you know, what I've done and what I've been through in my really 2.5, 3 years, which doesn't seem like a lot. And I know in other cases, some people are much further along in their journey, 30, 40 years. And it's through talking with people who are your mentors, people you believe in, people who believe in you, could be family members, your parents, you know, whatever the case is. I think those are all very important things to just think through and make sure that you keep the focus on. So as you go along, maybe you'll come up with some of your own truths as well. And that's great. Come up with whatever you want. Because at the end of the day, it's about you and about your journey, but maybe this will help you along that journey. So take that for what it is. Best of luck. You got it. Enjoy the journey. Goodbye for now.